We are joined by my colleague Vijay Ganeshan Iyer, who is in exclusive conversation with the outgoing insurance regulator, and that's the IRDA chairman J. Hari Narayan, who shares his views on the LIC investment cap issue that, of course, has been an issue of much public debate. Vijay, over to you.
Thanks, Supriya. As you rightly mentioned, we have with us chairman of IRDA, Mr. J. Hari Narayan. Mr. Hari Narayan, firstly, thanks for sparing this time and speaking to ET Now. To begin with, if I could ask you, recently just last week during IRDA's concluded board meet, you took the decision of increasing the investment cap in life insurance companies, say from 10 to 15%. Now, do you think is it too late in the day to take this decision?
No, I don't think it's either too late or too little. The caps must be viewed in two or three dimensions. One, of course, is the prudential matter which I had referred to several times. The second thing is that these caps are in relation to the takeover code. Earlier, when 10% was the maximum exposure permitted, the takeover code kicked off at 15%. That is, if a company acquired 15% of another company, if anybody acquired 15% of a company, he might have had to give an open offer to all other shareholders at that same price. But now the takeover code has moved the threshold to 25%, and that is why 10 has moved up to 15%.
So what is your objection in that sense for raising the cap of LIC to 25%, because government is clearly arguing and maintaining that increasing the cap for LIC would in a way only give the much needed headroom for LIC to invest in blue chip companies?
Our objection to the government stand has been twofold. Firstly, the LIC Act, which permitted government to specify the investment pattern for LIC, was only in the context of the nationalization and was to be done soon after the nationalization, which took place in 1956. It is certainly not open to them to do that in the year 2000, not when the Act has been amended and LIC has been required thereafter to follow the norms as prescribed for every other insurance company.
So, but on LIC, given that LIC serves completely a different purpose and also is governed by a different set of rules, isn't it in everybody's interest to keep LIC out of purview of IRDA?
That is not the intention which the Parliament has expressed. Parliament has clearly expressed that LIC, as every other insurance companies, must come under the purview of the IRDA Act and the Insurance Act.
And so on the issue of FDI, we all know that the standing committee is of the opinion that FDI cap should be increased to 49%, but this 49% would be including the FIIs. So what are IRDA's view? Where do you stand on the whole issue of increasing the cap?
I am certainly in favor of increasing the FDI holding in Indian insurance companies to 49%. The foreign direct investment in the equity will be required to underpin the growth of Indian insurance companies. If, however, this cap is to be split as between FDI and FII, I feel that that won't attain those objectives for many reasons. And I think it might be counterproductive also.
Mr. Hari Narayan, you have coming to an end of your stint as IRDA chairman. The two controversial issues which always have been debated, one is the issue of ULIP involving you and market regulator SEBI, and also the other issue of ongoing issue of LIC. In hindsight, if you look at those controversial issues, could things have been handled differently?
Maybe things might have been handled differently, but the point is the difference of opinion and treatment of certain products between the SEBI and the IRDA has ultimately led to the strengthening of both institutions. I am one of those who believes that healthy controversy and debate strengthens the parties, and it's entirely desirable. It should also be noted there have not been very many such issues, except for the one which you mentioned, in the long period of 5 years which has marked my tenure. There has been one instance where that has happened, and that has been to the good.
And so on LIC, your views?
The LIC, I think it's only a question of differential interpretation of the enactment. And I think ultimately it will serve the Indian society and the financial industry better if the rules of the game are known clearly for all players.
Mr. Harinaran, once again, thanks for sparing this time speaking to ET Now. Supriya, that was Harinaran, Chairman of IRDA, clearly standing his ground on the whole controversy of LIC, and perhaps also speaking fourthly and being one of his last television appearances and interviews, as he's scheduled to retire as IRDA Chairman next week on February 21st.